When I first started my wedding photography business back in 2011, I made just $5,000 in my business. Now, I bring in multiple six figures per year while working only 30-hour weeks serving my dream couples. I'm here to help you discover that it's so possible to have what you want when you want in your business so that you can create the life you've always dreamed of and deserve. Welcome to another episode of my podcast. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm so excited to hang out. I'm all cozy in my office, drinking some coffee and, blah, 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 stuttering, obviously. And also, for some reason, I literally just recorded, just to be totally straight up with you, I just recorded 5 minutes of this episode and something wasn't clicking. My throat chakra was blocked. I wasn't able to speak. And I was second guessing myself and I'm just like, no, I need to start from scratch because this is not okay. Just like have confidence in who you are. I have to remind myself of my mantra. So if you guys listen to previous episodes, you'll remember when I said, no matter what I do, people will love me. So I love keeping things real. This is me just showing you that am scared shitless sometimes and overthink things. But I do it anyway and I lean into it. And I mean, thanks to you guys for always kind of writing me and letting me know how much these episodes are helping you. That's what helps me actually push through it and do this because it ignites my energy and I get so excited, and I'm always just trying to figure out a way to be more confident in this space because it's brand new. I'm literally sitting in my office right now. It's quiet. I'm speaking and I'm getting no, visual body language back. I'm not speaking to anyone. It's kind of still weird, so I'm getting used to it. So right now I'm just visualizing that we're hanging out, drinking coffee and having a chat. So with this episode, I'm so excited for it because I love the end of the year. I'm obsessed with New Year's. I love, starting new goals, starting fresh, looking back on the year and seeing everything that I was able to accomplish, and then looking back on the year and also seeing what I was able to learn from my quote unquote failures, because I believe that failures are just lessons and they help us grow. So there's technically no failure. So I'm going to jump into this episode and share those things with you. I'm also going to share with you what I don't want in 2020, because what I've learned this year is that it helps to know what you don't want, to know what you do want. Also, I'm going to share with you what I do want in 2020, and those are going to be my top 10 goals. And I'm going to jump right in. Okay, so number one for the wins for the year. So I was actually able to have 12 weekends off from May to November. Compared to last year, I had only 4 weekends off from May to November in the wedding season. That is a big difference. Wedding photographers, I know you feel me. You are like, whoa, that's crazy. That's amazing. But you're probably thinking, oh, maybe she made less money. Maybe like she sacrificed how much money she made. No, my goal was to shoot less and make more. And guess what? I made it happen. So with the whole strategy that I use to slowly raise my rates over time. If you guys haven't tuned into my episode number 5, the easiest way to make more money as a wedding photographer, you can tune into that and you can see how I did it. But I stuck to that strategy and it worked. So I ended up having this year 25 weddings in 2019, and last year in 2018 I had 37 weddings and I made more money. Actually, I actually made a little bit more. Actually, you know what? I would say I made the same amount off of weddings, maybe a little bit more. And then my education added a little bit more to my income, but I did work a lot less this year, including even with my education. So education part of my business. So just want to show you it's so possible to slowly raise your rates and have a life in the summer. And obviously I was able to do this with the help of outsourcing too, but that's a whole nother topic. Okay, so number 2, I was able to stay active for 6 months straight on average 3 to 4 times a week. And this was along with Rory. Me and Rory, we've been together for 5.5 years, and we've always had like our moments of, 3 weeks straight working out and then we would fall off, or 2 months straight working out and we would fall off. And we didn't know why it wasn't sticking. And I think it was our mindset around thinking about, our weight and our bodies and kind of just the vanity part of it. I know obviously a lot of it was we also wanted to feel strong, but our focus kept being the weight on the scale. And this year we flipped the script in our minds and we were like, no, this is like, we want to feel better. We want to feel stronger. We also want this to be a permanent lifestyle shift. It's not, oh, just for now. It's a permanent shift, because when we do start having kids in the future, we want to make sure that we set an amazing example for them and we can be those active parents that don't get too tired and can raise our kids being really active and healthy. So that was something that was really like motivating us, and it helped us actually stay active for 6 months straight. And man, we're just on a roll, and it just feels like it's just part of who we are now. It's part of our identity. And I mean, it's here to stay. I've never felt so confident in being able to say that on our like active health journey. So that was a huge accomplishment for the year. Okay, so number 3, oh my gosh, if you guys have followed me on social media, I shared a bit about me doing the Candida cleanse for 30 days straight. I won't dive too deep into that because I'm going to do a full detailed episode on that 1 month journey in January, which has a lot of value. But I'm very proud that I was able to, in short, I was able to go for 30 days without sugar. That includes fruit, no alcohol, no dairy. And if you guys know me, you know cheese is like literally my number one favorite food in the world. What else was there? No gluten. And even like no like certain vegetables and starches I couldn't have. I feel like I'm missing one right now, but overall, like all the food that I loved, all the junk food that I loved, I wasn't able to eat for 30 days straight. Oh, coffee, what I'm drinking right now. I couldn't have coffee either for 30 days. So yeah, the first 7 days were really like hell. I'll go into it in my episode in January on the Candida diet that I did. But I came out of it like a freaking changed woman. My cravings are gone. Like it's just insane. So I'm so proud of myself that I actually stuck to it for 30 days because man, I suffered from a food addiction. I didn't know how to get out of it. And I just feel so much better and more in control of who I am and like my lifestyle and my health. And yeah, I just feel more in control and it feels amazing. And I just feel lighter and healthier. It's all very beneficial. Okay. Number 4, win number 4 for the year. So I started this podcast. Oh my gosh. Like I've been dreaming of this for 1.5 years and I was totally in my head scared to do it. Also, it wasn't even just about scared because I knew I would end up doing it one day, but I was kind of confused on exactly what direction I want to take it because I'm very into personal development as well, but I'm also into wedding photography and business. And I'm a wedding photographer. I'm like, how the hell am I going to fuse all of this together? So it just took time, right? So right now, maybe if you're feeling lost on your next career move or direction or what to do, just keep being self-aware of what you're passionate about and keep asking yourself the right questions of like, well, how could I fuse what I love into my business and just brainstorm and do the work, listen to business podcasts, all that kind of stuff. And slowly but surely you'll figure it out and get clarity. And now I love that I have clarity on exactly the direction I want to go with my podcast, which is basically focused on wedding photographers, but it has personal development and business fused into it. It's perfect. It's literally exactly who I am and where I am right now. And I'm so excited to help everyone in this space. So I'm very proud of this accomplishment. I got this podcast mic in the beginning of this year in April. And that back then I had no idea how I was even going to do it. I just did it. I took the plunge. I bought the mic. Then finally later in, because I had to get my other ducks in a row before I was able to start this podcast, I bought, when was it? I think it was September. I purchased Pat Flynn's Power Up podcasting course. And it was so good, guys. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, it was amazing. The way he broke down the steps was so inspiring. And even his course taught me how to teach better. So for my future outsourcing Made Easy for Wedding Photographers course, everything's just gonna be broken down step by step so that it takes away the overwhelm. So with his course, I was able to go from no podcast, not knowing how to do it. In 1.5 months, I launched this podcast. So that was a huge accomplishment, and huge shout out to Pat Flynn for being an amazing teacher in his amazing course. Okay, win number 5. This is more on the personal side. I became a better listener with Rory. So because I'm an only child, I pretty much, grew up in my own little world, only children. I think you can relate. And I didn't really, I don't know how to explain this. Maybe I wasn't really taught how to listen effectively. And I realized that in our relationship, sometimes if he was to give me feedback or tell me something, I would get defensive and I wouldn't actually listen. I would just think that he was like trying to I don't know how to explain it. Like, I think you guys know what I mean. He would try to give me feedback about something to do with either like my business or our relationship or how he was feeling about something. And I would get defensive because I wouldn't want him to think that I did something intentionally or that I'm maybe not doing a good job in my business or that I'm stupid. So for some reason in my head, I thought he was thinking, well, she either did that intentionally if it's something that we were fighting about, or, he's thinking I'm stupid and I don't know how to run my business, and I got defensive. I don't even know where that came from, but basically it took him a long time, like 5.5 years we've been together, but I had to basically untrain myself from being defensive, and I had to really focus on intentionally catching myself right when I was about to kind of like, snap back at him, and instead like notice that my ego was popping up, and then we're on the same team. The best thing he told me to make me realize what I was doing was, he's like, Sarah, I'm just telling you this stuff to communicate so that you know what I'm thinking and feeling, and we're on the same team. We both play for the same team. You want us to be successful. You want you to be successful, vice versa, everything, all that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so true. And before that, I never knew I was becoming getting defensive, but he was the one that showed me that in myself. And I'm forever grateful, because now I just feel like a much better human. I'm more patient. And listening is like a huge skill, and you can just gain so many new perspectives in life just through listening, and have healthier relationships. So I'm very grateful for Rory being so patient with me all these years with that. And I just feel like really transformed with that this year. So I'm really excited about that. Win number 6. So I'm also so thrilled that I got to host 3 outsourcing for wedding photographers workshops, and I was able to help 20 photographers gain clarity on the systems they can put in place in their business so that they can literally work less hard and make more money. And I really do strongly believe that there's a problem in our society right now with the correlation of working hard equals that's the money you deserve. I don't believe that at all. I think you can work smarter and make money and still deserve it, because in the end, it's the impact that you're having that has the value. It's not how hard you grind that has the value. So I'm really proud that I was able to host those 3 workshops, and I was only able to do that in wedding season through outsourcing, right? So I was able to outsource so many things in my business, wedding photography business, and make sure the quality and consistency is still intact. And then I was able to build my education part of my business and help other photographers figure out how they can, have 12 weekends free in a year, and during the week in the summer, in a wedding season. And then during the week in the summer, it's possible to, after outsourcing, to have literally 4-hour work weeks in the summer, because that's what I was able to create for myself. So I can't wait for those 20 photographers to implement it over the winter period, and then in the summer finally have more time for what matters to them, which is basically connection, right? Friends and family, and themselves, taking care of themselves, their health, all of that. So that means so much to me, and I'm so proud that I was actually able to take it from my, I've implemented this in my life, and then I was able to break it down and teach it effectively to 20 other photographers. Man, that's a win in my books. Okay, so win number 7. I worked the least hardest I have ever worked in my life thus far, and I have made the most amount of money. So I think last year, what was it? I think I made $206,000 in revenue, right? So that's before expenses, before tax and everything. And this year I haven't finished, calculating that part yet for me, but I think maybe it's $15,000 to $20,000 more. So I made a little bit more. Well, I'm very proud of that amount of more. But I made a little bit more while working so much less. It's just, my mind is blown, and I'm so grateful to have learned how to be able to do that. And a lot of that is basically, man, shout out to James Wedmore. If you guys need like a kick in the ass with like your mindset and how you're living your life and running your business, go follow James Wedmore. He's amazing. So all thanks to him, I was able to make that happen. Okay, so win number 8. I ran my first half marathon with Rory, which is crazy. I used to be a runner. I used to be an athlete. And see, I say I used to be because I lost that part of myself when I was in the past 9 years. I lost that part of who I was because I was building my business and I was working so hard that I stopped, being active and playing sports and all of that. So back in high school, I was an athlete. Like I played volleyball, I ran track, I did cross country. So man, this year getting that part of me back was so meaningful because I know I'm my best self when I am moving and I am active. So yeah, first half marathon. I have never ran, 22 kilometers? I still don't know. Is it 21 and a half or 22 kilometers for half marathon? But I couldn't even imagine the beginning of this year in June when we decided that I could run that far. And I remember the first day where it was like, okay, Sarah, we're going to do our first long run because we were training like 3K, 5K, 7K. And then out of nowhere, he's like, okay, Rory's like, we're going to do 10K today. I'm like, holy shit. And after accomplishing that day, it felt so good. And we ran for like an hour. And I just remember like the feeling of like, wow, I really didn't think I could do this, but I did it today. And then every week we increased our Sunday runs by 2 kilometers. So it would be like from 10 kilometers to 12 kilometers to 14. And then we would maybe do another week where it was 14 kilometers on the Sunday again. And then during the week, we would run like 3 kilometers, 5 kilometers still, but every Sunday we would do the long runs. And every time I just got so much more confident. And then by the time the half marathon came around, I was just like, this is easy peasy. And I can't even believe that this was something that felt so impossible to me in the beginning of the year. And now it's possible. So I grew so much as a person. I feel like I got that athletic part of me back, which was amazing. And this wasn't Rory's first half marathon. He's actually ran marathons before and stuff like that. But it was our first one together. And it was so fun running it together. And yeah, I'm excited for more. For next year, our next goal is a full marathon for 2020. So excited about that. Okay, win number 9. I had the confidence to get bangs. Oh, this is so random, but I am so scared to experiment with my hair. I'm that person that just like, I go to my hairdresser and I ask for the same thing every single time. And I don't know why. I'm just so terrified. So this time around, I was like, I've been thinking about bangs for a while. They feel like me, and I've been wanting them for like maybe 2 years and maybe 3 even, or 4. I can't even remember, but I did it and it felt so good. And I love my bangs now. And I think they're here to stay for a while. So that's totally random, but I kind of just like went with my gut and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like hair grows back. Just fucking do it. And Ashley, my hairdresser, was so excited because she's so amazing. We have like the best spiritual talks all the time, and she's so like understanding and like nice with me. And then when it was time for me to get the bang, or when it was time for me to when I decided, I'm like, okay, I'm doing it today. She was so excited and we were both so excited. It was so funny. Okay. Win number 10. And this is the last one that I'm going to say. There were so many wins, right? But I had to like kind of like bring it down a bit. So, okay. I played volleyball once a week all year. And it's so random, but that means a lot to me. Again, tied to the fact that I lost my identity over the 9 years that I, wasn't active. I just love movement and being active in sports so much. So I just made sure that every week in the summer and in the winter, I would be playing volleyball. And I love volleyball so much. So this meant a lot to me, and I actually stuck to it and I did it. So it was a huge win again. All right, so those were my wins, my top wins for 2019. So now I'm going to share with you my failures and kind of what lessons I learned along with the failures. So, failure number one, I felt like I wasn't as organized in the back end of my business as I would have loved to be. So, basically, like how Dropbox can get out of control and messy with random files. So, I'm very organized when it comes to like my wedding photography business and all my client folders and all of that stuff. That's so easy. I have like the system in place. It's so easy to keep track of all that. But when it comes down to like all the photos that I want to share on social media or random files, PDFs, all my education stuff for like with me learning from other courses that I take, that is all kind of jumbled up. I need to get better at organization there. So I just felt like, man, when I don't feel organized, I feel like I just have like so much fog in my brain. So that's something that I really want to work on this year or the coming year in 2020. So my lesson with this failure was slow down to speed up. So basically, now that I know that I need certain systems in place for maybe sharing Instagram photos and maybe not just piling them all into one big folder on Dropbox, and then every time I want to share a photo, it's like takes so long to find it. Like it's very inefficient. I need to slow down to create a process for it. And then I'll be able to speed up in the future and everything will be much more efficient. So that's one lesson from this year. Number two, I wasn't really in action the first half of the year. So I kind of felt like it was wasted. But again, I can't say that it was wasted because I'm learning this lesson and this is a very valuable lesson. So I felt like I was stuck in indecision and in student mode. And if you stay stuck in student mode, you don't get results. So those of you that love, personal development and listening to business podcasts and constantly learning, I understand you because I'm the same person. I constantly want to take in new information and learn and learn and learn, but you can't actually know or really truly learn something unless you apply it in real life. So what I was doing, I was just taking all this information. I'm like, the more I'll learn, the faster I'll grow. But no, it's actually in the implementation phase where you really do grow. And so halfway through the year, as soon as I started implementing like being active every week, it's kind of crazy because as soon as I started being active more frequently, there was a direct correlation with how much energy I had to implement everything that I learned. So man, tying it back to being active, it's freaking so good for you. So yeah, that was a big lesson this year. And now I feel like it just feels so good to be in action instead of just being like, yeah, well, I heard that on the podcast, already know it. No, like I have to actually implement it for me to know it. Failure number three, I didn't logically keep track of my business budget. I didn't logically keep track of my business budget as I had planned initially. So Rory was amazing. He created this little Excel very easy spreadsheet that I would just kind of fill out different sections like on how much, like I had a budget on how much I want to invest in my education, in like marketing and different types of things, right? And marketing, I can't say marketing because that's like, I used to have a budget for that, and that included like wedding show booths, but I don't really do those anymore. And I don't do like any Instagram ads or anything like that. So, I mean, that isn't really a budget part. I haven't even like opened the spreadsheet in like 6 months. So I don't even remember what's on it. So I can't even tell you. So that is something I want to get better at because he's really good at that kind of stuff. So I need to actually every month go through my expenses and then input that in the spreadsheet. Actually, you know what? Better yet, look at me go. I'm gonna train my virtual assistant how to do it, and I'm gonna have her do it for me. There we go. Done. Goal for 2020. But yeah, I didn't. So what I mean by I didn't logically keep track of my business budget was I'm very intuitive with how I spend my money in my business. It's like someone actually on Instagram asked me, hey, can you do like a episode on how to like budget in your business and manage your money? And I literally let her know, I'm like, I am the weirdest business person when it comes to that because I intuitively kind of know how much I've spent so far on education, and I know when to spend money, when not to spend money intuitively, but not logically, not on paper. So until I learn that skill, I'm not going to teach it to you guys because I don't want to, teach you anything wrong. So, or anything in like, basically, if I don't know it, I can't teach it to you if I haven't experienced it myself, right? So that's for another time when I actually learn that skill. All right, failure number 4. This one is very personal to me. And I'm very, very scared to share it with you guys because I feel like such a terrible person around it. I just feel so much guilt, and this is just something that I'm working on, and I don't know how to solve it. But failure number 4, I have not Skyped my grandparents in like a year. Like they live in Poland, by the way. So just to give you some context, they live in Poland. I've not Skyped them for a year. I feel like the worst granddaughter. Like some of you might be like thinking right now, like what, how, like maybe you have a very close relationship with your grandparents, right? Maybe some of you don't have a close relationship with your grandparents and you're like, that's normal to me, right? But man, my grandparents are amazing. I remember childhood memories with them. They were so great whenever I would visit Poland. I don't know what it is. I'm still working on this. I know I feel like I want to go to therapy around it, but I basically, me being very vulnerable is I'm so sad that I can't see them, frequently. And it's like, I might as well just not even try at all, because then if they're gone, when they're gone, it won't hurt as much. And I know that's so effed up because, of course, like, I know that if they were to be gone, I would regret it so much. It's still something I'm working on. I can't even expand on this right now because I have no idea what it's about. I just need to make an effort to really do it just for them. Like, not even me, my shit, whatever it is. Like, I need to get my shit together and freaking Skype my grandparents because they love me, they miss me, and I love them and I miss them. And I need to just get over the fact that, I don't know, this is just me being very vulnerable and just basically being like, I don't know what's going on. But I definitely want this to change. Okay, so failure number 5, I overspent on my spendies budget. So this is my personal spendies budget. So last year, or in the beginning of this year, me and Rory had an amazing, like big moment in our relationship where we joined our finances. And what we did was each of us has our own like spendies budget within our own personal accounts. So that basically with that spendies budget, he gets to do whatever he wants with it and I get to do whatever I want. So we're not judging our spendies on how we want to spend them. It's like nice little freedom that we have in there. So basically what I've noticed is every time the weather starts getting colder, I notice that I tend to shop more and I tend to overspend and I buy like more clothes and stuff like that. And I think it's because I'm aware that in the previous years for most of my life, I was affected by the weather. So I would, have seasonal affective disorder. And I don't like calling it that because I think it's just like, there are so many tools that we can do to alleviate that. So I don't want to label myself as, I have seasonal affective disorder. I could say that I've experienced it in the past, but I don't want to say I have it because I want to continuously, do all the things to, not have it be as prominent, if that makes sense. So basically I noticed that as soon as it starts getting colder, I think in my head, I've been very I'm very self-aware. So I've been thinking, well, winter is coming, so I want to make sure I stay happy. So I know these clothes will make me happy. Like that's kind of where my mind goes, but we all know that that's not true. So I ended up going over my spendies budget and I had to go into my business account to take out part of my business's money to be able to pay off my personal credit card. So I went over a little bit. It wasn't anything crazy, but I was just a little bit disappointed because I went in a span of a year of spendies. I went over my budget 2 months worth of spendies. So I could have done better. I could have, had that additional money that was in my business to invest it further into my business or something like that. But in the end, I'm not going to be hard on myself. I basically looked at it as like, Sarah, well, you gave yourself a big Christmas bonus and you went shopping, and you know what, learn your lesson, and next year, whatever budget you choose, just stick to it. And just so you guys know, the budget isn't very I'm all about balance, right? So I want to make sure that we're putting away money, that we're saving, that we have a nice like safety net of money for whatever our financial goals are. But I also want to enjoy my life and have fun and not put any constraints on that as well. So I definitely do have a great spendies budget. So I'm not too hard on myself with that. But because we do have a great spendies budget, I just want to be disciplined enough to not go over it so that we can achieve our other financial and business goals. Okay, so failure number 6. This is the last failure. Well, there were many more failures, but I'm not going to go into all of them because I'm like, that's too many and I can't remember all of them. But so number 6, my mindset around cooking and laundry this year was so poor. Like it was so bad. I detest, see, look at me go. I detest cooking and I hate laundry. And I would literally look at a pile of laundry that had to be folded that was even just small, like just workout clothes. And I'd be like, oh my God, this is going to take forever. It's going to drain my energy. I can't do it. And I would literally leave it there. And then over like 2-3 weeks, that pile would grow with all the clean laundry. And then you have to dive into the pile to look for all the clean, like whatever you want to wear next. And oh, it was just like, that was more stressful than actually just doing the folding for 15 minutes. So, and same with like cooking, like I would make such a mountain out of a molehill with this kind of stuff. So, yeah, I feel like that was a failure because that kind of thinking drained my energy. It wasn't if I were to cook or, do the laundry, obviously efficiently, because I wouldn't want to do it every single day, but like maybe once a week, batching all of that together. I could have, had the mindset around it's easy to do it once a week, but no, I was like, I don't ever want to do it. It's stupid and blah, blah, blah. I was being a little fucking princess about it. And you know what? It is part of who I am. But I need to just, because in this part of my life, I don't want to allocate too much of a budget yet for having someone come in every week to do all that. I feel like it's around the corner. So possibly next wedding season, I'll implement that with outsourcing, right? But for now, with our financial goals that we have, it's not the right time yet to dive into that. So for now, I just need to, as long as I'm cooking and doing laundry, I need to just have a positive mindset around it and just do the thing so that I don't have it hanging over my shoulders and draining my energy. All right, so those are my failures. And now I'm so excited because I get to talk about the future. So 2020, I love this so much. And I don't know about you, but so I'm gonna definitely be sharing in the next episode. So I'll tell you guys in the next episode, which is the first of 2020, I'll be sharing how to chase unrealistic, quote unquote, dreams and actually achieve them. So I know a lot of people, set New Year's resolutions and all of that. So I'm not one of the people that sets the resolution and then totally forgets about it and goes after and stops going after it, right? I'm the type of person that will go after those things, most of them, right? Because I have a lot of goals, but some of them will still drift away. So I'm not perfect, but I'm definitely not the person that will like pick one and then in January work out and then not work out for the rest of the year. And that was my only resolution. Like I have a list of them and then they're very specific. So yeah, I won't go too far into how to set up goals to make sure they're achievable and stuff like that in this episode. I'll do it in the next one. So you can start off the year fresh with being able to set your own very specific goals. So I'm just going to kind of go through this list pretty quickly. And just so I could share with you what my next year is going to look like with my goals. Okay. So first of all, what I don't want in 2020, here is a list of what I don't want. I don't want to feel like shit after I eat. I don't want to feel weak and unfit. I don't want to take on projects that don't excite me. I don't want to be disorganized. I don't want to be inefficient with my spending. I don't want to lose touch with friends and family. So take those in. Hopefully some of those resonated with you. If they do, just keep them in mind for maybe when you're, journaling right before New Year's and figuring out what you don't want to, right? Okay, so here is what I do want in 2020. And these are so exciting. And just to let you know, I strive for really high goals because big goals, because in case I land at 90% of achieving it, that's way further than if I just tried going after a smaller goal. You know what I mean? So these are big goals for me. Okay. So goal number 1, weekdays, eat clean. Weekends, indulge, but don't binge. So what I did in the past with my food addiction, it's so nice to say that. I feel like I don't have a food addiction anymore, thanks to the Candida diet. But I would binge till I like made myself sick. Like I would just eat as much of the food that I loved, like the junk food, chips, cheese, as much as I could. That's gone, no longer here. And so I'm excited to, eat clean during the weekdays, and then weekends to indulge, but not binge to the point of making myself sick. Okay. Goal number 2, staying consistently at 124 pounds, by working out minimum 4 times per week. So, my goal weight, I have 3 pounds to go. So basically my goal weight is 124 pounds. Right now I'm around 127, 128. And for me, it's just like, I think this year I got up to 143, and it's not about the weight. It's about how I feel, right? I feel lighter. I feel like better in my body. I feel more confident, everything. Plus with working out and eating cleaner, I have more energy, and that's the number one thing, right? So for me, I just want to stay consistent at 124, and I'm happy there. And by the way, I'm happy now. Literally, if I didn't hit 124, I'll be happy. But that's just like that one little like last 3 pounds that I want to achieve to have exactly what I want, right? By the way, why do we have to? I feel like there's so much body positivity right now happening, in society, Instagram, everything. And I love it. It's so amazing. But on the other side of it, I feel like I have to justify if I say I want to lose weight, right? And I'm sure some of you also feel like you have to justify it, right? So I won't get into that conversation because it's a whole thing, but I feel as long as you're, in your body and you're happy with it, and that's a great thing. Whatever that is for you, right? Whatever that is, whether that's you need to lose another 10 pounds to be happy in it and really feel your most energetic self, that's amazing. Or if you are the way you are right now and it's like you're happy, as long as we're happy, it's all good. So I don't know, I had to say that because I felt like I had to justify myself. Anyway, so what I want to do in 2020, I'm looking at my notes here. Okay, yeah. So goal number 3, stick to budgets allocated in 2020. Goal number 4, 4,000 email subscribers by October 31st, 2020. And this is basically just so I can help as many photographers as possible with the outsourcing course so that they can work less and make more in their life and business. Goal number 5, I want to have 35 weddings booked at 6,000 average each in 2020. So some of you guys that have listened to all of my podcast episodes are probably like, wait, what? It kind of doesn't sound like your goal that you mentioned in a couple episodes back. So I did mention that I want to book less weddings, like maybe 2,000 weddings, maybe 20 weddings at 8,000 average, right? That was my goal. But I realized with all the outsourcing that I've been able to do and still keep the quality intact, I just want to go back to shooting a bit more, and I want to shoot more wedding days. And because the supply of me went up, because I'm able to take more weddings, 35 instead of 20, that means that I'm able to slightly lower my price so that I can make the amount of money I want to make within the year, if that makes sense, right? So, for example, instead of my average being $8,000, it's now going to be $6,000, but I'm going to have 35 weddings. So I'm still going to make a great income. So it's just kind of like how I worked it out. So I kind of changed my goal. That's the thing about life. Like you can set a goal in the beginning of the year, and then halfway through the year, you could be like, well, you know what? Things have changed. Things have shifted. I want something else right now. So I just shifted the goal. So that's my goal for 2020. Goal number 6. Oh my God, this is a big one. This one is the one that's the biggest and scares, I'm just like, how am I going to do that? But the thing that I've learned is you need to figure out what you want and why you want it and forget about the how. So this is me doing that. Okay, so goal number 6 is to make $400,000 just from my outsourcing course in 2020. So I'm going to be putting the course out in March, the first one. And I don't know how it's going to, like, I have the whole year to do that, right? But that's just a goal. I'm putting it out there. By the way, I think it was last year I put out a goal. I wanted to make $1 million this year. And I did not even close, right? But you know what? It's okay, because I'm like, I learned from like, okay, maybe don't like 5 times your income goal in 1 year, and maybe do like 3 times or something like that. So anyway, I brought it down to where it's less overwhelming for me, but it's still scary. You still want to make sure your goals are scary. Okay, goal number 7. This one's really, really exciting for me. I want to meditate. I'm going to meditate a minimum of 10 minutes per day for 365 days straight. So for the whole year of 2020, I'm going to meditate for a minimum of 10 minutes per day. Goal number 8, I'm going to Skype my grandparents once per month. And that's my minimum. So if it ends up becoming more, like, I just want to do better than what I did last year, right? So this year I did 0, right? Maybe I did 1 in there. I definitely Skyped them maybe 1 time in there. And then when I was with my parents sometimes, but me personally just Skyping them randomly, haven't done it really. So even if I just have it once per month, that means that I have really improved and our relationship will grow. And maybe that, even just doing it for half a year, once a month, maybe it'll turn into twice a month. So we shall see, but I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, because if it's too overwhelming, it's not going to happen. Okay, goal number 9, create personal photo albums from teenage years, early 20s, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019 by the end of 2020. Man, I am a photographer, but I am the shittiest person at printing my own freaking memories. I don't know how many of you guys relate to this, but it's so bad. And now that every year is just piling up, it's like, it's getting so overwhelming that it's like time for me to really deal with this. So I want to make sure that I go through all of those photos, cull through them, and print them in either 4x6s or albums and stuff like that. So I'm going to make that happen in 2020. Printing photos and memories is so important, especially now in the digital age where we're just relying on everything just staying up in the cloud, but we don't actually imagine in 20 years the piles of photos that are going to be piling up. It's just like, I don't want to be there where I'm disorganized and I have a backlog of 20 years. That's not happening. So I'm making it a priority for me to make that happen for 2020. And lastly, goal number 10, because if you do more than 10 goals, that's kind of too many to digest. And I'm going to get into this in the next episode in more detail. But so goal number 10 is to be in integrity with myself. So that means I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do 100% of the time. This is something I tried to work on this year. This was one of those New Year's goals that I had last year that kind of dissolved for me and didn't really work out. I have been more in integrity and more in action than I have last year, for sure. So 2018. This year in 2019, I have been more in integrity, but it wasn't 100% of the time. So what I mean by this is, okay, if I say tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. I'm going to go to the gym, and then the next day I trick myself being like, whatever, I'll do it tomorrow. That's me hindering what my higher self really wants. It's me hindering what my goals are. So technically, if you just 100% of the time stick to what you say you're going to do, man, you're going to grow so fast and you're going to feel so great about yourself. And it's all just positive things. You're going to grow your self-confidence. You're going to just live a happier life because you're actually living your dream instead of just dreaming about it. So that is goal number 10. And I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope it lit a fire under your ass to just, think about this stuff yourself. So maybe take some time during Christmas. Maybe, I don't know, a lot of you might have a crazy busy Christmas. For me, we have a small family, so it's a little bit like slower, quieter. So, but take some time, even if it's just 1 hour, sometime before New Year's, to sit down and just think with yourself, like turn all distractions off, have a paper and pen, and write down, like, what were your wins for the year? What were your failures? What do you not want in 2020? And what do you want in 2020? and just like brainstorm that, right? Just let it all like come out of you, let it sit on the paper, pick a couple goals, and then if you want me to teach you how to prepare the goals that are very, very specific and to figure out how to actually make them achievable, then just meet me back here next week. What day is it going to be? See, first week of January, first Thursday of January. That's when I'm going to release the episode, How to Chase Unrealistic Dreams and Actually Achieve Them. And then that way you can take those like notes that you have, and then you'll be able to actually transfer them into very specific goals that you can take with you into the new year. So that'll be really fun to do together. I would also love to hear from you after this episode, if you got something out of it, and then after even the first episode of the new year. I would really love to hear. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing right now on my recorder in my podcast the number 4444, which is like 4444 is my like highest angel number. I don't know if you guys know what angel numbers are, but it's basically saying that I'm on the right path. And I was born at 4:44 a.m. That's why it's like my most powerful angel number. So it's crazy that as I'm saying this to you guys that I'm seeing it. So obviously the universe is telling me and you guys that this is really important right now. So I love that I got that kind of feedback from the universe. But yeah, I would love to hear from you within, like right before the new year, to hear if this episode helped you. And then in the beginning of the new year, I would love to hear from you of what very specific goals you figured out for yourself, and would love to have more of that conversation with you, because I'm a nerd when it comes to setting goals and achieving them, and New Year's, like fresh starts. Oh my gosh. All right. So with that said, I hope you guys have an amazing New Year's. Party hard, no regrets. Be with the people you love, and I can't wait to see you in the new year. Yay! Thank you so much for hanging out with me and tuning into this episode. If you got value out of it, please feel free to message me on Instagram at Sarah Monica Photo. That's Sarah no H, Monica with a K, photo, to let me know. I get so freaking energized hearing from others that what I've said has had a positive impact on their lives. Also, make sure to hit subscribe to the Shine and Thrive podcast to never miss an episode. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm sending you all the productive vibes your way so you have the best week ever.